Your life only works if you never slow down. Not completely, not really. You can take a day off, maybe even a weekend, but deep down, you already know what happens if you slow down too much. The emails pile up, the bills keep moving, your apartment gets messier, and the anxiety gets louder with it. And suddenly, rest stops feeling relaxing. It starts feeling irresponsible. That's the part nobody talks about anymore. A lot of adults aren't living. They're maintaining payments, maintaining routines, maintaining relationships, maintaining the version of themselves everyone got used to seeing. And after a while, your entire life depends on you continuing to function. That's not stability anymore. That's dependency. Even when you're exhausted, especially when you're exhausted, you notice it in small moments first, sitting in your car before work, trying to mentally prepare yourself to act normal again, opening your laptop Sunday night and already feeling Monday inside your chest, feeling guilty for wasting time while technically resting, not because someone told you to feel guilty, you just do now, automatically, like survival slowly became your normal state. And the strange part is, from the outside, your life probably looks fine. You still show up, you still answer texts, you still laugh at dinner, you still pay your bills and handle responsibilities. You still function well enough that nobody asks questions. That's why this trap gets so dangerous. Nothing actually collapses. You just slowly disappear inside your own routine. Most people think burnout looks dramatic. It doesn't. Usually it looks normal. That's why people stay stuck inside it for years. You keep telling yourself, this is just adulthood. This is temporary. Things will calm down later. But later never really arrives. The responsibilities just change shape. At first, you work hard to build stability. Then eventually, the stability starts owning you back. You can feel it when your weekends stop feeling free. Some people don't even enjoy weekends anymore. They just use them to prepare mentally for Monday. You stopped resting. You started recovering. You're not excited for time off anymore. You need it just to become functional again. A lot of adults don't feel rested anymore. They feel temporarily repaired. And even then, you never fully recover because the problem isn't only physical exhaustion, it's emotional maintenance. You spend so much energy keeping your life operational. You slowly lose access to yourself. That's why so many people feel weirdly disconnected now. Not broken, not dramatic, just absent. Like they're constantly participating in a life they don't emotionally belong to anymore. And honestly, modern adult life rewards this. People praise reliability. The person who always answers, always shows up, always keeps functioning under pressure. That version of adulthood gets rewarded fast. But nobody asks what it costs psychologically to live like that for years. Nobody notices when someone becomes emotionally mechanical as long as they keep functioning. That's the trade most adults quietly make. You sacrifice internal peace to protect external stability. And eventually, you stop questioning it completely. You just adapt. That's how survival mode becomes personality. You start organizing your entire identity around avoiding collapse. You don't make decisions based on what feels alive anymore. You make them based on what prevents disruption. You stopped building a life. You started managing one. That's why people stay in jobs they hate, stay in routines draining them, stay emotionally numb for years. Not because they enjoy it, because instability feels more terrifying than unhappiness. Especially after adulthood starts becoming expensive. That's how pressure becomes personality. Once your life depends on constant income, constant performance, constant functioning, your brain adapts to constant pressure. Rest started feeling dangerous. You stop seeing rest as freedom. You start seeing it as risk. And the scary part is, this happens slowly enough that most people never notice the shift. One day, you're building a future. A few years later, you're protecting a system that quietly exhausts you. You can see it everywhere now. People answering emails late at night from bed. People unable to relax without checking notifications. People feeling anxious during vacations. People coming home tired, then immediately preparing themselves mentally for tomorrow. Sometimes you finally sit down at night and immediately start thinking about tomorrow. A lot of adults don't even feel mentally off work anymore. Their body leaves work. Their mind doesn't. Dinner feels rushed. Weekends feel temporary. A lot of people aren't even looking forward to life anymore. They're looking forward to small moments of relief. A quiet night, a canceled obligation, one peaceful hour without pressure. That became enough. Even free time feels scheduled now. Like every part of life slowly became maintenance. And after enough years, people stop asking whether life feels good. They just ask whether it still functions. And even conversations changed. Ask adults how they're doing. And most answer with workload updates. Not emotions, not excitement, not curiosity. Just maintenance reports. Busy, tired, trying to catch up, just getting through the week. That became normal language now. And honestly, a lot of people don't even know who they are outside survival anymore. That's why slowing down feels uncomfortable. Not because rest is bad, because silence forces recognition. When life finally gets quiet, you start noticing things. How emotionally numb you became, how little excitement you actually feel, how automatic your routines became, how much of your personality turned into management. That's why some people stay constantly busy. Not ambition, avoidance. Movement helps prevent emotional recognition. Busy people avoid silence for a reason. Because if you stop long enough, you might realize your life stopped feeling personally yours years ago. And once someone feels that, it's hard to unsee, especially when they spent years building the current version of their life. That's the trap of modern stability. The more responsibilities you collect, the harder it becomes to admit you're unhappy inside them, because now people depend on you. Your bills depend on you. Your identity depends on you. Even your self-worth starts depending on remaining functional. So instead of asking, "Am I happy?" most adults ask, "Can I keep this going?" That's a completely different life. And eventually, you become emotionally loyal to your own exhaustion. You defend it, normalize it, even protect it, because exhaustion starts feeling productive. It starts feeling responsible. It starts feeling adult. Midway through all this, something dangerous happens. You stop imagining alternatives. Not because they don't exist, because freedom stopped feeling realistic anymore. That's when survival fully replaces living. Not when life gets hard. When your imagination disappears. When you stop emotionally expecting more from your own existence. That's the moment people become trapped without realizing it. Because externally, nothing looks wrong enough to leave. And internally, you're too exhausted to rebuild. So you continue. Quietly, automatically, year after year. And honestly, this is why so many adults feel strangely detached from their own lives now. Not dramatic enough to call it crisis, not painful enough to completely collapse, just heavy enough to make ordinary life feel empty. You see it in the way people celebrate small escapes now. A free evening, a canceled plan, a quiet morning, an extra hour of sleep. Tiny moments started feeling luxurious because people are overwhelmed all the time now. Even rest became scheduled maintenance. And maybe the darkest part is, a lot of people still call this stability, but stability was supposed to create safety, not permanent tension, not emotional numbness, not a life where your entire system crashes if you stop moving for a week. That's not peace, that's survival. Your life became dependent on constant output, constant management. And after enough years, you stop noticing how abnormal that actually feels. You just call it adulthood. You call it responsibility. You call it being realistic. But deep down, most people already know something feels wrong. That's why ordinary exhaustion feels heavier now. It's not only physical tiredness, it's psychological repetition. Waking up already mentally occupied, living the same week repeatedly, always recovering, always preparing, never fully arriving anywhere emotionally. That's why people keep chasing temporary relief, food, scrolling at night, background noise all the time, weekend plans you're too tired to enjoy, little emotional interruptions, just to briefly escape maintenance mode. But the feeling always comes back, because the real problem never left. Your life only works if you never slow down. And maybe that's the realization people avoid most. Not that they're unhappy, not that they're tired, but that their entire adult life became structurally exhausting, a system requiring constant energy, just to stay emotionally functional. And once you realize that, ordinary life starts looking different. The packed schedules, the fake "I'm good," the constant stimulation, the guilt during rest, the anxiety during silence, the way people panic when they have nothing distracting them. You start realizing a lot of adults aren't chasing success anymore. They're trying to outrun collapse, quietly, professionally, socially acceptably. And honestly, that's why this kind of exhaustion feels so isolating, because everyone around you looks functional too. So you assume this must just be normal. People got so used to exhaustion, they started calling it normal. They just keep going, keep performing, keep functioning, keep surviving, until one day, they realize they spent years protecting a life they no longer feel connected to. Your life still works. You don't.